Good morning, Dr. Zwelling here, and this is part of our pharmaceutical library. Welcome! Hopefully this information will help you choose your drugs better and more safely. Let's talk about acid reflux. There are a whole gob of medications, and now they're over the counter, so you have to be careful. Some of them sound like this: Prilosec or omeprazole, Prevacid, Protonix, Acifex, Nexium, just to name a few. You've also probably heard of Zantac or ranitidine. Let's talk about how they work in a general sense and why you might want to choose one over another. First of all, the stomach has to be acid in its content. If it isn't, you can't digest your food. So the fact that the stomach contents are acid is a good thing, but they're very acidic. pH ranges from 0 to 14, 7 being neutral. And the stomach contents are so acid their pH is about 2. That would burn a hole in your clothing, imagine. So you don't ever want to get stomach acid on yourself. That said, when we give you an acid reflux medication, otherwise known as a PPI, proton pump inhibitor, this inhibits, obviously, the proton pump, and this changes the acid content of your stomach. But it doesn't make it not acid. It doesn't make it alkaline. It takes the pH from about 2 to 4. But that seems to be enough to help the stomach heal if it has an ulcer or any kind of an irritation. It also seems to help if you have reflux up into the esophagus. Why does it hurt so much when you have reflux? Well, simply put, when you have reflux, the stomach contents, that acid, comes up into the esophagus. The esophagus is just not prepared for that kind of acid, and it burns and it hurts. And you can have pain in your stomach, you can have pain in your neck, it can even go to your shoulder. It can often mimic a heart attack. The proton pump inhibitors, again, take the pH of the stomach contents from about 2 to 4. Frankly, they all work pretty much the same, so it's whatever works for you. Prilosec, Prevacid, Protonix, Acifex, Nexium, or their generic equivalents are all pretty good. Now there's some talk about not taking them if you take certain medications. Specifically, if you take some medications called Plavix, that is a medication that you would take for coagulation purposes. And part of the reason is because some medications are better digested or better metabolized and absorbed in a more acid medium. So changing the acid medium may change the amount of drug that is absorbed. You might want to talk to your doctor about it if he or she thinks that that is important. In general, it isn't going to hurt you if you take any of these drugs with any of your other medications. It also tells you on the box to always call your doctor after about 14 days. In truth, I always think it's good to talk to your doctor, but these drugs are pretty safe, and you can take them over an extended period of time. You may take them at any time of the day. You should get away with 1 pill a day. You generally don't need more. Some people feel better when they take 1 pill twice a day. That is, again, no harm. Remember, these drugs are just taking the pH of your stomach content from about 2 to 4. Now, with respect to Zantac or ranitidine, it's actually an antihistamine, believe it or not. We're going to talk more about antihistamines in another lecture, but the antihistamine also decreases the acid content of your stomach. They don't seem to be quite as effective, but if it works for you, no problem. The drug cimetidine, however, as an antihistamine, should not be used with other medications. It interferes with liver metabolism, and I think it interferes with other drug metabolism too much, and I don't recommend it to my other patients. Zantac, interestingly enough, as an antihistamine, may be used for sinuses or rashes or allergies. That's a subject for another lecture, but you may find that your sinuses dry up a little bit when you use Zantac or ranitidine. I hope that answers your questions about proton pump inhibitors. Thanks for listening.